What's poppin', everyone? I'm Venomous Stare, and I'm back with something exceptional today. It is one of the highest level European Zergs out there. In the bottom right of Abyssal Reef, it is Serral from Finland. Now, if you don't know anything about Serral, this is really the only thing you need to know. He's been ranked #1 on the EU ladder for an extraordinarily long period of time. And during his reign of terror on the EU ladder, there's been several ladder challenges going on where the best pro gamers in Europe are trying their best on ladder and trying to rank in the top 16. So when the chips were down and everyone was tryharding on their main account, Serral stood out with an insane win rate. And quite honestly, it was reminiscent of the win rates that Stefano used to pull back in his prime, where his GM level accounts would just be at a ridiculous win rate. His opponent of this best of 3 is a Kazakhstani player, a guy from Kazakhstan, named PiLiPiLi. And I've seen a few of PiLiPiLi's games. From what I usually see, he likes to go air. He kind of favors these abusive unit compositions. When I say abusive unit compositions, I'm usually referring to this late game Protoss Death Ball air mix that we see a lot of the time. And he's going to make a Cyber Core, which is nice to see. And he's going to Probe Scout. The Zerg player, of course, has taken Hatchery first over here at his natural, and then has taken Gas Pool. That will allow him to get Link Speed as soon as the pool comes up. Now on Abyssal Reef, this natural ramp is a bit tricky, because it's one of these weird ramps where there's kind of two chokes you have to defend. Most people do what PiLiPiLi's doing, where they'll wall this one first, and then they will do the second gateway, or usually they'll do second gateway here just to complete the wall. Sometimes you see other stuff, but notice that this pylon is really going to be in the correct spot where PiLiPiLi doesn't have to make a bunch of pylons in the wall or something stupid. PiLiPiLi has taken double gas, and what is he going to make down here? Stargate? Twilight? What is it? And it's a Stargate. And at the front door we see, on the Serral cam, okay, an Adept's moving out. And he's just going to continue to move north. Now he sees this gaping hole in the wall. I love how this Zealot's being chronoed out, and it's going to go right here. And a Ling is going to get in, actually, so this is really valuable for Serral, because knowing the unit composition that Protoss is going for in the early game can be the difference between you living and dying. And what is he going to do? He's going to scout the Stargate. Great move there from the Zerg from Finland. And notice that PiLiPiLi is going to do this. I'm going to chase you around with the Zealot and probably never catch you thing that we see. Protoss players do quite a bit. The Adept gets out, it scouted around. What did it see? Well, it saw the third, it saw the natural. This is one of those things where you have to scout to get that information, even though you probably know what's going to happen. PiLiPiLi could probably deduce that Serral was going to take a third and that he didn't have 3 gas or something weird. Of course, Link Speed has finished. So Serral is just running around the base, and he even sees an Oracle come out first. So that's great. Very important scouting information there for Serral. But honestly, seeing that it is Stargate, as opposed to Twilight or Robo or Dark Shrine, is more important than what the first unit is. Oracle comes out here for PiLiPiLi, and the Spore is a couple seconds late, so Serral will take some drone damage. Just 3 drones, though. And the Phoenix is going to come out and clear Overlords as the third base goes down. So PiLiPiLi takes a third base around 420. And what do we see here from Serral? He's pumping mass drones. He's getting Overlord speed. Now this is an interesting move to get Overlord speed like this. We see some Korean players, namely Dark, really like this move. And essentially what this move does is allows you to scout, and it also allows you to do drop-based play. This Oracle that has 3 kills is going to fly over to the third base, but here are the Queens, and the Oracle is extraordinarily fast, so it does escape despite flying into 4 Queens. But no drone damage is done, and since the shields were taken down, he will have to run away at least temporarily. So this is interesting. We see that Serral here has loaded up queens into a dropper lord. I like to call this the queen taxi. He also has made a lot of zerglings, and they are running across the map. Now PiLiPiLi sees this, bad observing, my bad, with an oracle, as I'm having trouble with my mouse drivers, and it's making it kind of hard to observe because the center mouse button, which is how I do these subtle movements, isn't really working. So PiLiPiLi sees some banelings being made, and he's going mass error, guys. He's adding 2 more Stargates and a fleet beacon. So PiLiPiLi will be at a little bit of a power trough here, because really he's just trying to tech to air, and the Zerg player is hitting him when he's least expecting it. Overcharge going down. Here come the Banes, and the Queen Taxi drops off these queens. Great move, and notice the Oracle and the Mothership Core are extremely soft. This Queen does need to be transfused when it gets low, and boom, it goes down from Serral. The Phoenix is coming back from PiLiPiLi, and this is one of those weird situations as we see a Stasis Ward goes off and more Banes come forward. And boom, decent hits onto the Adepts, which of course are light units. Serral hitting without any melee upgrades here for his Zerglings. Oh, he picks up the Queen Taxi, and it looks like he's going to dive onto this pylon, which is overcharged. Notice that he's always focus firing air units with his queens, and he's taking advantage of the queen lack of speed by just constantly doing elevator, or not elevator, but hot pickup micro. And here, due to PiLiPiLi having the Stargate hidden at the corner of his base, it's just powered by 1 pylon. And this 1 pylon will go down, so Serral, he's taking a huge advantage here as 2 voids are out, and voids are a little tricky because they do a lot of DPS, but oh, the Queen Taxi's in peril! And suddenly Serral loses the Queen Taxi, only drops 1 queen out. And the voids are good. Oh, the 3rd base goes down. I mean, that was pretty obvious. I wasn't going to like sit here and zoom and scream like a WCS caster, because Serral could have really taken that out whenever he wanted. And he did right at the end. But these voids, they're a good choice because obviously Phoenix take energy to pick up, and against like 50 lings, you're never going to be able to clean it up with Phoenix. And oracles have energy and are really bad against queens. Carriers take forever to make, and the fleet beacon wasn't finished, so what does that leave PiLiPiLi? The skill ray. And what does the skill ray do? Well, it's good at focusing down overlords, it's good at killing Arbin units, and once you have a critical mass of them, it really limits what Zerg can do without anti-air. So PiLiPiLi is going to go into this extraordinarily strong air army. Notice he's getting the Carrier Interceptor upgrade. And what is Serral doing? He's teching into Spire. Remember, Serral has been running rampant and constantly scouting the whole game. He even got Overlord speed. So he's going to try to run into this 3rd base, but there are a lot of Adepts and a Carrier out. And Carriers do some of the highest DPS in StarCraft. They are an incredibly powerful late game unit, and PiLiPiLi is kind of doing a strategy that is, oh, we see some misrally drones there, is pretty popular in lower leagues. Not to say that it's like a newbie build or it's not a good build. The strategy is actually pretty easy to execute, this mass air with carrier strat versus Zerg. It's very difficult to deal with because oftentimes if Protoss can get their 4th base established and tech into Psystorm, they can get these absurdly powerful armies, and Zerg is kind of sitting there trying to make like 2 different spellcasters and a weird mix of units to try to break that. But then High Templar and Storm is good against pretty much everything Zerg can get. So very often we see the matchup of PvZ when the Protoss goes for this style kind of devolve into the Zerg doing everything they can to try to break the Protoss before they can get a 4th base and get up to Storm. 9 Corruptors on the way here for Serral. Now the Corruptor is a maligned unit. What I mean by that is Zerg players like to make fun of and talk shit about the Corruptor because quite honestly, it's not a very good unit. But with the defense upgrades on the way and a very good economy, Serral should be able to put a dent into the Kazakhstani player. And the Adept is trying to get a shade off, but it fails. So PiLiPiLi was doing his best to scout. So what is Serral trying to do at this point? Do we see him teching to Hive? No, he doesn't even have an infestation pit. So PiLiPiLi is really just trying to get his 4th base and get this carrier backbone established. And Serral really wants to just spend all of his gas on Corruptors and Carapace upgrades because Void Rays are extraordinarily good with attack upgrades, and so are carriers, because carriers attack very quickly, so you want to prioritize getting carapace upgrades versus this mass air style. And we see Caustic Spittle is going down onto this Nexus, and all of the shields are going to die, and boom! PiLiPiLi turns on the delicious, delicious prismatic alignment here. And what do we see over here at the third base? The classic Zerg maneuver of running at one spot and hope the Protoss player can't multitask. But unfortunately, he's not playing a random mid-masters brain damage player trying to get free wins with mass air. He's playing PiLiPiLi, who's pretty damn good at the game and is going to run in with the depths here. We can see that Lings did do a lot of probe kills here, but the players are going to trade off workers. PiLiPiLi morphs in to the third base of the Zerg. The Zerg is doing his best to kill workers himself, and Serral's in this weird position where he's going like Ling Corruptor, and Adept shit on Lings, even with good upgrades. Serral has 1-1, which if you didn't know, 1-1 Lings are exceptionally good against 0-0 Protoss ground army. It's actually a very good way to stop a lot of different Protoss all-ins, is to get 1-1 Lings. Lots of drones still going down here, so PiLiPiLi trying to trade damage off with Serral, but Serral really killed a lot of workers over here. And if we go to the worker tab and more Caustic Spittle, and boom, the natural dies, excuse me. As I was focusing on the workers there, and Serral needs to be extraordinarily careful, because with all of the workers he's killed and the base sniping that he's done, sniping this base, and the third earlier, he's going to run in with more Lings. And this is what you have to do with players who try to go into mass air, is their army is extraordinarily powerful, but it's very slow. So you kind of have to pull them apart and harass them and not let them get a great economy. But PiLiPiLi has been building these Protoss air units all game. He's up to about 13, and now he's going to attack into the Zerg base, and the Zerg has to be careful as there's an insane amount of damage coming down. He wants to fight with Queen Spore because Pure Corruptor really is god-awful. And lots of drones start to die, and flanking going on with Corruptors. Notice the natural hasn't been made. More Ling harass is going down, and the air army is continuing to aggress for PiLiPiLi, but Serral has a huge supply advantage, as Serral's worker and base advantage throughout this game is really paying off. And PiLiPiLi, it looks like even though this Protoss air was doing a lot of damage, he's not going to be able to hold. He's economically destitute like Greece, and there's no EU to hold him up. He's going to get ran out of this game, and PiLiPiLi will fall here. He went for what we usually see from him, which is this air mix, where he tries to get to this very powerful army, and Serral made moves throughout the game to try to combat that, including multiple Ling run-bys, and he ran over with all of his Corruptors and used Caustic Spittle, which of course replaced the Corrupt ability, which was one of the main punchlines about the Corruptor, was how much of a joke that ability was. So he ran over, used Caustic Spittle, got all the shields down on the Nexus, pulled the army over, like to over here, ran in with Lings, did his damnedest, and then basically just did that again. And one of the things that you have to consider is Protoss players who go for these sort of mass era styles. You know, look at this. Let's just look at PiLiPiLi's structures. 5 Stargates. Okay, that's a ton of production. Great move by him to build all those Stargates. But with only 3 bases, and remember, with all the workers he was losing, and of course the Nexus, it was really never full 3 base economy. Really can only afford these 3 gates. So whenever the Zerg player runs in with mass Lings, you can only warp in 3 Adepts at a time. So Serral knew that. He knew the style PiLiPiLi was going for, which produced all of these extraordinarily powerful air units, but left him vulnerable at home. So if you enjoyed this video, or if you found this helpful in any way, make sure you subscribe for more, and make sure that you tell your newbie buddies about my channel. Enjoy.